this call is the documentation of us starting a company from zero, literally zero clients. This time we don't have zero experience, so we're a little bit more equipped, and we're going to see that experience. It helps shortcut the distance between 0 and a million. So if you guys are on the call for the first time, welcome. Last week we went over week number 1, and week number 1 was really exciting. Can anyone guess how many cleans we had on our very first week? Put in the chat. This is a small group, so if this is your first time on one of these calls, it has to be very interactive. Otherwise, it gets weird because it's like being in a small room with just a handful of people, and one person's talking and everybody else is just sitting there like it becomes really awkward. So that's nice part of the small groups, that it forces people that don't want to interact and to engage. So how many cleans did we have last week on the first one? Okay. Thank you guys for being active. Come on. Christina Hall, Alyssa, you guys were correct. Yes, maybe you guys were on here last week. Or maybe you guys watched the recording. The recording is inside the masterclass, so you guys all have access to Masterclass 2.0. Katie asked me today where one of the recordings was from last week, and I realized that they were categorized atrociously. So I have now updated the masterclass to the headlines that this is categorized under 0 to a million. The new call we did on Friday is categorized 40 to 83K, which is we're highlighting Jessica and Lucas on their journey to a million. And then the committed community weekly trainings which are on Tuesdays, are titled just that. Okay. So if you guys are looking for any of the replays, that's where they're in Masterclass 2.0. And yeah, last week we started this business. We started with one clean, a deep clean. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to share with you guys what happened in week number 2. So this is I'm actually showcasing you guys the vision sheet. Does anyone in here currently not know what the vision sheet is, or not currently use the vision sheet? Please. If you don't, this is a great call for you. If you're not currently using the vision sheet, or you don't know what the vision sheet is, like, that is why I'm doing this call, is to show you how to utilize this tool, one of my favorite tools. Actually, it's the tool that helped our business explode, right? Our original cleaning business, the OG, the one that's still the, I guess you call it the OG, right? But when we started using this vision sheet, our business was doing about $30,000 per month, and we had been stuck there for like 6 months. And I had the idea behind this vision sheet of like, hey, like, what does $1 million business look like? And basically put what $1 million business looks like, what our business looks like currently, and the whole goal was to close the gap, right? And we use the sheet as a way to identify our progress in that we made every single week on closing the gap on what $1 million business looks like versus what we were at. We did that for 52 straight weeks, and our business went from $30,000 a month to $100,000 per month in revenue. And so I'm showing you that, like, this, the same way that we grew cleaning business number 1 is the same way we're going to grow cleaning business number 2. But this time we're smarter. Now we have experience. We know that we're not going to wait a year and a half to start using the sheet. We're going to use it starting on day number 1. So again, put in the chat. Does anyone not know what the vision sheet is? Does everyone know what the vision sheet is? Actually, let's do it that way. Does everyone know what the vision sheet is? Type yes if you know what the vision sheet is. Say yes. Say yes. Yes. Cool. Amazing. It's because you guys are smart. That's why you guys are in here. You guys are using the tools that can help you grow your business. So let me show you guys what happened last week. All right. All right. Marie, don't look at the screen. You just listen. Can everybody else see the screen? Christine, Jacqueline, Christina Hall, you guys see it? Cool. Okay. So let's go over the vision sheet. And I actually made an update to the vision sheet. I had this idea because I wanted to actually see what it looked like against itself every single week. And so I've updated this vision sheet as a test to see, here's what we did last week, or here's what we did this week. This is the week of 3/11/3/17, as you guys can see down here. So we had 13 job ticket hours. We had number of average hours of cleaners was 6. We have 1 cleaner. That cleaner is Katie. Last week, our first week, we had 8 job ticket hours. We had 4 average hour cleaners. We had 1 cleaner. Still Katie. So our growth goal and excuse me, our goals over here, our first goal is to get to $20,000 a month, which equals 103 job ticket hours, which is our average cleaners doing 20 hours a week and us getting 5 cleaners. So those are our targets. That's what we're setting for. So each week, those are our big targets that we're shooting for, is like, how do we get 100 job ticket hours on the schedule? How do we get our cleaner average hours to 20? And how do we get 5 cleaners? Okay. That's our goal. That's what we're focused on. And then our client goal is monthly revenue, weekly revenue, revenue per clean, and weekly total cleans. So this week, our current monthly revenue is $1,830. We made $1,000 this week. Yes, we broke the 4 figures mark on week number 2, which is awesome. And then our revenue per clean was 206, and we did 5 total cleans. So we 5x our business in 1 week. Man, things gonna go real fast. Sure, it's not really. Obviously, from week 1 to week 2, there's going to be big changes, and probably there might be big changes in the first couple of weeks, but then it's going to get it's difficult. It's difficult growing a business in general, and starting with absolutely no list and starting with no clients. It's very difficult. So, but this shows us our progress, and so our monthly goal is to get to $20,000 a month, and in order to do that, we got to get to $4,600 per week. We got to get our revenue per clean to 238, and we need to do 19 cleans per week. Okay, so those are our targets. That's what Katie and I are focused on. Is we're trying to get to 19 cleans per week. We're trying to get to $4,000 per week, and we're trying to get 5 cleaners who are doing 103 job ticket hours per week. Like, those are the big numbers that we're focused on. Okay, now how do we get there? As we keep going down, we'll show you guys. So currently monthly revenue, and this is inside ZenMade, 1,830. Last week we did 1,030, like we showed earlier. We have $150 in outstanding invoices. We haven't had anything hit QuickBooks yet. We set up a brand new QuickBooks account, bank account, and we got our first payout today. So it took about a week for that first one to come through. I believe that as Stripe, as you get a little bit more seasoned, it shortcuts it, or it brings it down from a week to a couple days, I believe. But either way, we finally got our first. We haven't had anything hit QuickBooks up until this morning, which is actually 3/18. So, okay, marketing. Where are we spending our advertising dollars? So Google pay-per-click, we're spending $0. Google local services, we're spending $0. And the only reason we're spending $0 on Google local services is because I'm still not verified yet. If any of you guys have done that process, you probably remember, or maybe you don't remember, I didn't remember this, that it took like a couple weeks for the background check, actually. So I'm fairly confident that I'll pass the background check, but that's the last thing we're waiting on. So then once that happens, then we'll start spending money on Google local services. On Facebook, we actually started spending money last week on Facebook. So we spent $203. I think Lucas is actually on here right now. So if any of you guys have ever started a brand new Facebook account, or you guys are spending money on Facebook for the very first time, they actually limit you on how much money you can spend because Facebook don't trust you. Okay. And so I actually had a advertising limit, even though I had scheduled it out for it to spend $50 a day. It only spent $25 a day because Facebook didn't trust me. Because I created a brand new ad account for this new business. And so it also charged me like every $3. Kitty was like, why is it charging? Why are we getting $3 charges from Facebook? We're getting, what was that? Like 8 a day. I was like, because Facebook doesn't trust us. That's why. So now that it trusts us, it gives us a little bit more bandwidth. So now it doesn't charge every $3. I think now it actually charges us every like $25. And just this week, it allowed us to spend, now our limit's $50 per day. So now we can spend more money on Facebook. But last week we spent $203. Look at this. We got 11 leads. Pretty exciting. From Facebook. We had 1 missed call lead. We had no homepage, no Google logo services, obviously, no incoming call leads, but we had 7 referrals. So I want to highlight this one right here because in our previous, or in the OG business, the Bozeman 5-star cleaning, we don't get a ton of referrals because we just don't ask, very simply. And because we're starting this thing from scratch, that was like one of my intentions is like, how do we keep this thing as lean as possible and asking for referrals. So our network that we have down here in Arizona, much smaller than it is in Montana because we've only been spending half the year down here. This is our second year even doing that. So like we've only met a handful of people, but we've been attacking that group of people that we've known and just that's how we've been able to fill the schedules. That's how we were able to fill the one clean the first week, and then last week all of the cleans were referrals, and then a handful of the cleans that we are going to perform this week are referrals as well. It's simply just going into our it's actually called the warm messenger strategy. So this is actually inside Masterclass 2.0. And I talked about it specifically on Facebook, but it works also using your contacts in your phone. And that's exactly what Katie and I did is we just went through our phone contacts and we reached out to people using the warm messenger strategy, asking people if they wanted a discounted home cleaning. And so that's how we've been able to start to get momentum going and fill in the schedules and just getting people to know about our business. And then we're also asking those people for referrals as well. So with that being said, our cost per lead is pretty good just because we're not spending a ton of money. We only spent $200 last week. And we got 19 leads. So pretty neat. Okay, sales. Let's talk about some sales. Oh, I didn't fill this out. Average number of spots open 7 days. I believe this was 8. So, okay. So for sales last week, these numbers are a little skewed. We actually had an issue. See, this is the problem with starting new companies. They get all these issues. And so anytime somebody would try to call our business, it would go straight to voicemail. So we weren't receiving any incoming calls. So I was working with Go High Level for the last probably week and some change in order to get that to work. And I finally figured out it wasn't a Go High Level issue. It was actually a me issue. So I figured out what the problem was, but a lot of these calls were just me calling myself and me not answering. So that's why I missed so many calls. But with that being said, these numbers aren't exactly, I wouldn't say accurate because it includes me just calling myself a bunch of times. Discovery calls and scheduled calls are accurate. We had 15 scheduled, so only one person didn't show up. 14 performed, 7 of those bought, so we had a 50% close ratio for me. And then Katie actually did 1 discovery call, 1 performed, and then 1 bought as well. So last week we sold a combined total of 8 new sales. And then that was for $700 new client revenue. And then we did no conversion calls. We didn't have anybody who was eligible for conversion calls last week. So 0 zeros on those numbers. All right, let's move down to client fulfillment. So last week we had 5 claims in the schedule. We have 0 reoccurring clients. 2 new. So 3 of those were new clients, and actually 2 of those were Airbnb claims. So while they're not technically considered reoccurring clients, we actually consider those people reoccurring clients. But they don't go under the reoccurring client number. But we have an Airbnb that Katie actually got that contact information at a meetup that we went to, part of our networking group, or excuse me, part of our networking as we went to this group meetup, a real estate meetup, and we just told everybody we started cleaning business. We found somebody who had Airbnbs that they needed servicing. So those were 2 of the cleans came from last week was an Airbnb. We got 2 new Google reviews this week as well, which is pretty cool. No complaints. Technician acquisition. So over the first 2 weeks, we actually used ZipRecruiter because we couldn't get Indeed to work. We tried to create a brand new Indeed account and we just kept getting denied. They kept on shutting our account down. I probably set up 5 accounts and Katie set up, I think, 2 accounts and literally got them all denied. And so through grit and determination, and honestly, just using a different LLC, a different company, we got Indeed to work. And then we actually are using a different company to advertise for our cleaning service. But we finally got Indeed to work down here in Arizona. And so with that being said, I think we had a good flood of applications that came in. But last week we did 1 screening call. We had 2 interviewed, 2 showed and offered 1 the job, and then 1 accepted. And so last week we had 2 infield trainees, and we had one solo tech, which is Katie. And so if we scroll down here, you'll see that we have these two techs right here were the ones that were in training. And so they both passed training. They both actually are fully onboarded. They're graduated cleaners, which is exciting. And then Carly, she did a working interview on Friday, and then she actually got onboarded today. So as of right now, we have 2 people who are graduated and 1 person who's in training this week. You can see here that her expected graduation date is to be this Friday, and Katie's the one who's training her. 5-star reviews. We have 8 5-star reviews. Goal is to get to 50. So every single person that we're cleaning for, that's one of the first things we're asking for, is asking for a review. Have any of you guys used the word of mouth marketing campaign? Did any of you guys use that? That's inside Masterclass. Type in the chat if you guys use it. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. So I'll show you where this is at. This is something that I highly recommend using. So if we go into Masterclass 2.0, all you guys have access to Masterclass 2.0. If you're like, I don't know where to get into Masterclass. I don't know where to log into Masterclass 2.0. So you guys go into school. I have it pinned right here, right? So it's just right here. Or you guys use bookmarks. I definitely recommend bookmarking it. That's what I do. If you go into Masterclass 2.0 right here, and you scroll down to lesson number 2. Word of mouth marketing campaign right here. Okay. This is what we're using in order to get reviews. We're asking every single person to write us a review. So if you're not using that, I definitely recommend it. It definitely works. Okay. All right. Next section. Next section is technicians. So this is where we're going to count up if they have any call outs and the total number of job ticket hours. So you can see Katie here. Katie is our only full-time cleaning tech, our only Sparkle boss. She had no call outs, thank God. And she did 12.75 job ticket hours. Our 2 trainees both did 15.75 job ticket hours. Does anyone not know what job ticket hours means? Does anyone not know what I'm referencing when I come to job ticket hours? Tell me in the chat what a job ticket hour is, actually. Who knows what a job ticket hour is? Use the chat. Use the chat. Come on, friends. Yes. Alyssa's right. The amount of hours a client is billed for. So, for example, when we quote a clean that's going to take 4 job ticket hours and our man hour is $50 an hour, then I'm going to quote that client at $200. 4 times $50 per hour equals $200. Okay. Now we could have one cleaner do that. They could take all 4 hours, or we could have 2 cleaners do that. And how long would it take 2 cleaners to do that? How many job ticket hours would each cleaner get on that job? Good job, Renee. Right? 2, right? So now let's say that we have it billed so the client is going to get billed for the 4 job ticket hours. What if it takes the cleaners 5 hours? Then what happens? Does anyone know what happens? What happens to what happens to the client if the cleaners take 5 hours? Exactly. It gets billed the same. What happens to the cleaners? So the client doesn't care. That's right, Alyssa. That means that the cleaners, they still make the same amount, whether they're in there for 4 hours or 5 hours. So are the cleaners incentivized to get it done in 4 hours or less? Exactly. Right. Now, what happens if they get it done in 3 hours? This actually happened on one of our things on Friday. Like Bridget and Shane were supposed to be there for 4 hours, and they got done in 3.5 hours. Excuse me. It was 4 job ticket hours, and they got done in 3.5 or 3.5 job ticket hours. Yeah. They got paid the same, right? So they made more money because they were more efficient. Yep, exactly. So the more efficient your cleaners are, the more they get paid, right? Now they have to do a great job. You have to do a great job selling the client on making sure that you give your cleaners the best opportunity to be successful, right? I think what I've noticed is that it's like as a salesperson, as a person who's booking the clean, like you want to give everything, you want to give all of it away to the client, but then you put your cleaner in a really hard position in order to fulfill on that clean. Like you give them a little bit of time to do a lot of work, and then they don't do it, and all of a sudden the client gets mad, and then they get mad at the cleaner, and the cleaner's like, dude, I only had a couple hours to do all this work. So it's important to have that balance of making sure that you're giving the client a deal and you're giving your cleaners the best opportunity to be successful. And that's actually the message that I am delivering to the client is like, when I give them a quote over the phone, I give them a range and I'll tell them like, it's my goal to give my cleaners the best opportunity to wow you. That's what I tell them. So like, that's why I'm giving you a range. And as long as you're okay with the higher side, like I know on the higher side, like that gives my cleaners enough time to do a great job. Now, if they come underneath, great. Then your bill will be less. However, my goal is to give my cleaners enough time to actually do an amazing job at wow you so we can continue to business with you in the future. Yes, Murray. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I said it's a balance for sure. But a lot of that can be taken care of on the front end when you're selling the client and just telling them like, give them a high number, like be brave. You tell them a high number, like this is the number that I believe is going to give us the best opportunity to like wow you. That takes a lot of courage from you as the person who's talking to the client and a lot of conviction in yourself that like we're worth it. And the benefit is that if the client says yes to that, and you actually come in underneath there and you're able to like you're able to give them a better price. What's the likelihood of them wanting to continue service with you? The client's happy, the cleaner's happy, you're happy. Like, why would you continue? Okay. So anyway, that's what job ticket hour stands for. Okay. Now, these numbers are a little skewed because Katie actually gave Shayna and Bridget the opportunity to solo clean on Friday. Actually, didn't give the opportunity. We just had to because we had another clean that popped up. So Katie had to go out solo, and she sent Shayna and Bridget out in the last 2 days. So their last 2 days, some of these job ticket hours are billed, although normally trainees don't get any of those job ticket hours billed to them. So if you scroll down here to the total job ticket hours, it only includes Katie's. However, there is probably 8 of these job ticket hours that actually were billable hours that should actually be inside this, which is why you see this 80.78 really high. It's really not that high, right? But for the sake of like this is it's not a normal thing for trainees to be billable in their first week. I just wanted to, I'm more concerned about the consistency of the sheet than I am whether this job ticket hours is right on week number 2. So, yeah, no call outs. Again, this revenue per hours is inflated because there is some billable hours that are not being tracked inside here. Client complaints. If we did have a client complaint, we would put it inside here. Cancel clients. If we had clients to cancel, they would, this is where we would put them, but right now we don't have any clients, any reoccurring clients, which is actually a great point. On my meeting with Jessica and Lucas today, they're inside the advisor programs. We have a one-on-one meeting every single week. And, we talked a little bit today about canceled clients. So the way that I reference this is clients who are on recurring subscription, people who are on a weekly or biweekly or every 4-week service. That's what I consider a recurring client. And if they cancel, we put them in here. So one thing that they were doing, which is great, I just think that it needs to be separated, is that they were putting in clients who committed to a first time cleaning and then canceled before their first time cleaning. They were putting them in here as canceled clients. Now, I think that's a great category to track. I just think that like this specifically, if we wanted to be really clear, we could call this canceled recurring clients. That's actually all we need to do right here. And now it's more clear on who exactly we're tracking. So I'm going to update that moving forward. So we're all more clear on what we're talking about when it comes to canceled reoccurring clients. Okay. All right, let's talk about some discounts that we gave away. So we gave away some $50 cleaning vouchers. So we actually labeled these friends and family discounts. So this is part of our offer that we offer to the people inside our phones, the people we know. We said, is anyone interested in discounted cleans? And we simply took the price that we normally charge, and then we knocked off $50. Really simple. Right? A lot of the people, they end up tipping over the $50 anyway, which obviously that went straight to the cleaners. Actually, it didn't go to the techs because they're in training. In training, we don't tip our techs, but regular techs, they get 100% of the tips. So okay, yeah. So that's week number 2, and so again, not a lot of activity. We're just in week number 2, but so far up to this point, we've billed $1,800. I mean, almost $2,000 in first couple weeks, and our goal is to get to $20,000 a month. And how we do that, we're going to get to $4,000 a month. We're going to get to $238 per clean with a 19 total cleans per week. So like in my goal, like we get to 20 cleans, and we get to 20 cleans and we get to 5 cleaners. Like those are like the 2 big numbers that I'm focused on. Like every single day, I'm like, how do we get to 20 cleans on the schedule this week? How do we get to 5 cleaners? So you guys didn't see last week's activity on the technician, but we obviously ended up hiring 2 people last week. Hired 2 people the week before, one person last week, and like today, for example, I had 6 screening calls, and 3 of them showed up, and I pushed 2 of them to interviews. And so even though we have 3 people and we don't have a full schedule, I'm continuing to interview. I'm continuing to look for amazing humans who want to grow with us. All at the same time, Katie is talking to our cleaners. Like we had our first team meeting today, and Katie is sharing the vision of where the company's going. Like everybody knows that this company's a startup. They know that like they're part of the initial group. They're excited to be part of something brand new. Katie obviously is using the story of kind of where we came from and what we built before as a way to earn some trust, to help bridge that gap for these gals. And she's also selling them on the fact that like, hey, like enjoy the fact that like your schedules aren't very full right now, because there will be one day where you're going to be complaining to me that like you want some time off because your schedule is so freaking full. So she's using the opportunity right now to like sell them on the future, and also to allow them the opportunity to help us, right? She's like, hey guys, like we're obviously new as well, and like we're all hands on deck trying to like we're doing like we're focused on filling the schedules, but you know, this is a team thing. So we're going to have them start hanging door hangers after each clean they do. They're going to hang door hangers around each house that we do as a way to help us out, and just start telling people like, hey, like ask people, like same thing that we're doing with our phones. Like now you do the same thing with your phone. Like go text your friends, go text your family members, and ask if they want discounted cleans. And this is how we get this thing to spread. Because one of the hardest things is just like getting something going, getting momentum going. Like it's difficult. And so it's funny, like everybody that's on here right now, like I have a smaller cleaning business than every single one of you guys on here, right? And so, like it's freaking hard. Like there's so many times I'm like, man, this actually sucks. Like I don't have a list to reach out to. Like I'm like literally having to create my list. Like I don't have a database of people that I can just like go send a text to. I'm like, shit, I'm like literally look through my phone. I'm like, okay, like 95% of these people live in Montana. That doesn't freaking help. So only 5% of my phone when people live in the area that I live in. Okay, and then I'm like, how can I like make the 5% people who I know? How do I extend from there? And it's like I'm asking these people if they want home cleanings. They're like, no, I'm good, or whatever. I'm like, do you know anybody? Like, do you have a friend? And so they're just like trying to like like find that spread, right? And just realizing that there's no way I can do it on my own. So like that's why we're asking for help. We're asking our team to help. We're asking our clients, our new clients to help. But that's why we're asking them for referrals. So, and we obviously have the ads coming in. We have people, we had 11 Facebook leads last week, which was great. Like we'll continue to get those type of leads. We had somebody who called for the first time. So I told you last week that our phone wouldn't, it would go straight to voicemail. So people didn't call. And then I finally got to work just yesterday. And then today I was in between an interview or a phone screening, excuse me, and I saw the phone ring. I was like, holy crap. It's the first time. And I answered it. And guess what? It was somebody looking for a cleaning. I was like, holy shit, this was for real. This is happening. Her name was Tanya. I'm like, Tanya. I'm like, on my computer, because I actually can't get it. I can't get it to ring my phone yet. I couldn't figure that out, but like, I got to ring from my computer. I'm like, oh. She's like, yeah, I was on your website and I saw you had a $50 voucher thing. I was like, oh, buddy, let's go. And I'm like getting my computer and I'm like typing out notes, and Tanya was awesome, and got her signed up. It's like, wow, here we go. Right. So it's like moments of like, shit, I can't do this. And all of a sudden a Tanya calls, right? Like gives me hope again. And then I'm like, when's the next Tanya coming in? And so, yeah, it's like, I was just telling Katie this morning, like it's difficult. It's cool. It's cool for me to be reminded of like what it is to start something from scratch, and looking at our stuff in, with Bozeman, if I start cleaning, yeah, we just get we get 30, 40 leads per week. We have this huge database of people we can just send messages to. People know who we are. We have a good presence online. People know who we are in the community. Like, it's just so much easier to get, like, once you have an established business. So for all you guys who are like just starting, or you guys are feeling it too. You're like, you feel like a startup. Maybe you've been in business for a couple months or maybe even a couple years. Like, I still feel like a startup. I feel you. It's a challenge. Um, but it's just putting the work in. It's just continuing to talk to people, talk to clients, talk to cleaners, and it just becomes the volume game, right? And eventually it becomes a game that you can't do alone. And that's why you eventually start to hire people. And so Katie and I already like we're forecasting, our next hires, like who's eventually going to be the assistant GM, who's the one who's going to be in charge of like talking to clients and cleaners. And yeah, but as of now, our business does $1,000. It's done $1,800 a month. So here we go. We're on the way. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys today. Oh, Katie's on here. This is great. I didn't know Katie was even on here. Sweet. All right. Do you guys have any specific questions about the vision sheet or about this journey from starting a cleaning business? How can I be of value to you guys in this moment? Yeah, Katie answered a good question. How long is your training period? Just 1 week? Yeah, ideally it's 1 week. Yeah, because our schedule hasn't been very busy. We've done a little bit faster. And then, yeah, the trainings don't count towards billable hours. Exactly. So that means that, for instance, like if Katie goes into a home, we have 4 job ticket hours and she's got 2 trainees, then she actually will be there for 4 hours.